In March of 2026, China imported only 3.6 tons of maleic anhydride. And 5 years earlier, China imported over tens of thousands of this chemical product every year. So something changed fundamentally. If you're sourcing maleic anhydride for the European manufacturing, you need to understand what happened. Hello everyone, it's me again, Dong from Walsun Chem. In this episode, we look at how China went from a net importer of maleic anhydride to one of the world's largest exporter, and what the structural shift means for your sourcing strategy. MA is a core industrial chemical with two primary downstream markets. The first is unsaturated polyester resins, widely used in construction materials and composites. The second, and more relevant to this story, is its role as a key feedstock for biodegradable plastics, especially PBS and PBAT. In January of 2020, China introduced a sweeping plastics restriction policy, phasing out non-degradable plastics across logistics, food delivery, and agriculture film. Market projections at the time pointed to biodegradable plastics demand reaching 5 million tons by 2025. Since maleic anhydride is an essential feedstock for those biodegradable plastics, investment followed rapidly. The production capacity expanded across Jiangsu, Shandong, Fujian, and Guangdong province. China's MA production capacity stood at 1.02 million metric tons in 2020. By 2025, it had reached 3.46 million metric tons, a 240% increase in 5 years. But the anticipated demand never materialized at that scale. Capacity was growing at around 30% every year, while the actual output grew at only around 15%. The production infrastructure was in place, the downstream market was not. As a result, it brings us back to the 3.6 tons mentioned in the beginning of the video. China's full-year imports of maleic anhydride in 2024 came to just around 1,000 metric tons. In March of 2026, the monthly figure was 3.6 tons. For all practical purposes, imports have already exited the market. On the export side, the picture is completely different. China exported nearly 200,000 metric tons in 2024. From January through November of 2025, that figure reached around 214,000 metric tons. In the first quarter of 2026 alone, 85,800 metric tons. It already trended above the last year's full year's pace. This is not a short-term fluctuation. China has become a net exporter of maleic anhydride, and that position is unlikely to reverse in near term. So, what does it mean if you're sourcing maleic anhydride from China? Well, first of all, you're in a buyer's market. That means Chinese producers are competing for volume. This translates into real price leverage. Second, a low price is not automatically a positive signal. When producers are under sustained margin pressure, some will cut costs in areas that affect product quality. Raw material specification, process controls, quality verification, etc. The critical distinction is between factories that are genuinely cost-efficient at scale and those that are simply discounting to survive. Third, this window actually has a defined timeline. New capacity of 2026 are limited. If biodegradable plastic demand start to recover or weaker producers start to exit, the supply-demand balance will shift. As a result, establishing supply relationship right now is a smart move, while the negotiating advantage still sits with the buyer. We're Walsun Chem for the confident chemical sourcing in China.